helping anyone in need. Whether friend or foe, the wounded must be cared for. They are the sons of some dear mother. You know, during the war, that's the Civil War, some citizens objected to me helping the enemy. I converted my whole house into a hospital. I cared for the Union and Confederate soldiers alike. That was how I earned the name the Angel of Santa Fe. I guess now you want to hear how I got this pleasant name. The story is not as enjoyable as you would think, but that makes it exciting. When I was 21 years old, I married the dashing young Lieutenant Edward Canby. We had only one child, Mary, but she died young. We moved wherever the military sent us, from Indiana to Florida to California and New Mexico. My husband was good at what he did, which would serve him well. A terrible war was forming between the North and the South. I kept myself busy by copying important documents and accompanying him at military posts. "23 years later, we found ourselves in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Edward bought me a beautiful home to care for while he was away fighting wars. Then the Battle of Val Verde began, and I put my mother's teachings to the test. This battle took place upstream from Edward's Fort Craig at the Val Verde crossing. After Edward had sent a mixed force, they realized the Confederates only had pistols and shotguns. That's like bringing a shovel to plow a field. When Edward realized this, he arrived with the rest of his reinforcements. As my husband gained the upper hand, the rebels shattered his lines. Even though most people say the Confederates won, Edward still managed to hold Fort Craig and destroy the Confederate supply train. That's when the boys started to arrive in Santa Fe. We knew they were coming. We could hear the booming artillery for days. I convinced several men in town to help me convert my home into a hospital. I made the decision to provide care no matter who they were, Union or Confederate. I knew this would go against my husband's wishes and would cause him problems, being a general in the Union Army. But these were the sons of some dear mother. I served as nurse and hospital supervisor and did my best to help the surgeons as they performed amputations on shattered limbs, many without anesthesia. I was finally relieved of my duties after a week of work. A week, with nothing more than a few hours of sleep. That was how I earned the name the Angel of Santa Fe. The Confederacy fell in 1865, and my husband and I were there to accept their surrender. My husband continued his military career, and since we had no children, my focus was his career. I did my best to stay out of trouble and be a good wife, but the Angel of Santa Fe isn't always angelic. Sadly, my dear, dear husband was killed in 1873 by the savage Modoc tribe. Those horrible men. Edward was trying to have a peace talk with Modoc leader Captain Jack. Because Edward did not have the authority to grant Captain Jack and his people their ancestral lands, the Modoc leader became very enraged. Edward wasn't even armed. He was shot 2 times in the head and they split his throat. It has been, when I heard the news, I spent a week in bed. It has been 2 years now and I still haven't gotten over it. I recently heard the military named a fort in his honor, Fort Canby. It has a nice ring to it, don't you think? Well, I'm sure I've managed to talk your ear off today, but I really must get back. My husband and I have been busy telling others about my gentleman general.